I think Nick would be pleased with all that's taking place this afternoon. And I know it's been a little long for many of you in many ways, but it's just great to pause and think about the life of, to me, the most courageous, the bravest young man that I have ever had the privilege of knowing. My remarks, I simply want to pull 3 pages from my day book. Maybe you know that I kept a day book through the years, sort of a journal to keep me on track and keep me motivated. And for over 30 years now, I can go back and tell you who I talked to and what we talked about on any given day in my ministry. For some of you, that's kind of disconcerting. But just for the record, I've got you in my book. May 22nd, 1995, in my book, I have an entry that reads simply, Tim and Tammy Nischan in labor. And I thought that must have been a Freudian slip of some sort. Tim, you and I, as husbands and fathers of children, we know, how much pain we go through when our wives are giving birth. The labor process is really a joint process, and so evidently that was what I was thinking on that day. But I didn't get to see your newborn son that day. It was the next day, according to my day book, on May 23rd, that I stopped by the hospital and saw the Nischan family, and then I wrote in big letters, Nicholas Yancey. How many of us would know at that point what a special life this young man would live? We're given to hyperbole and exaggeration at times like this, but I'm not exaggerating in the least when I say that Nick Nischan was a precocious young man from the beginning, and he was destined for great things. You and I may not affect many lives in many ways, but if this world stands, Nick will have a profound effect upon tens of thousands or more, because the waves are going out in many directions. Nick was a very introverted young man. And if you all know Tim and Tammy, you know God has a sense of humor. But if you know Tammy, well, anyway, Nick was really a quiet person, into himself. And I was so afraid sometimes when I was talking to him and he wasn't saying anything, I could look at his big eyes and I knew he was thinking. And I didn't really hear what he was thinking. But he was very deep and very wise. And a couple of you mentioned his smile. I have a grandson, Kai, who's 18 months, and I say he has $1 million smile. Nick had a $10 million smile. If you want to do something that's good for your soul, go back through the blog and notice how many times he's just come through surgery and his face is swollen, he's got a black eye, or he's got tumors protruding from his forehead, but there's a grin that goes from ear to ear. Now, just an inside, there are some grins that don't look too hot, and those are the ones when Tammy said, smile. Right? And there are those when you just know it's coming from the heart of this young man who, in spite of what he was dealing with, loved life and lived life to the full. December the 19th, a Wednesday, in my day book, 2001. I have listed some folks I visited, and at the bottom of the page it says Church Christmas Program. And off to the side I've written Baptism, Nicholas Nischan. There's a story behind that. We never have baptisms at our Christmas program. We never do that because, you know, that's the night that the nursery kids are out here, and it's a zoo. And the kids know they're going to get candy back before the time that, well, when we used to do that, and they know that they're going to give gifts to their teachers and different things, and so we don't have baptisms. But Nick wanted to be baptized. Nick was 6 and a half, and he had bugged his mom and dad about it for some time. They wisely had sent to one of the elders who wisely had basically said, you know, Nick, you're young, and maybe you need to think about it a while. And this just broke Nick's heart, because he knew he loved Jesus, and he knew that Jesus was central to his life. And so he came back to his mom and his dad, and it was just imperative that he be baptized. He comes to Tammy, I think, and says tearfully, Mom, I have to do this. And Tammy, being a wise mother, says, well, you'll have to talk to your dad. And so, what did Tim do that night? Precious moment. Makes his confession of faith, and at 6 and a half, gives his life to Jesus. Now, if you're looking for the pivotal point in Nicholas Nischan's life, look no farther than there. I call Nick my hero. Just as you heard Chuck Norris, and some of you have said the same. But I want you to understand that Nick would say to you today, I hope your real hero is my hero, Jesus Christ. The thing that was so outstanding about this young man was, months before he had his first indication that he was ill, he had already given his life to the Lord. It wasn't out of fear. It wasn't a bargain with God. He just wanted to belong to Jesus.